And good morning if you're watching this during the morning here with us live. And if not, I hope you have a wonderful day. My name is Jeremy. I'm one of the pastors here at the Ascent. And I just want to take a quick moment to say one thank you for worshiping with us today. We'll get into our worship service here really quickly. But there are a couple of important things that we wanted to make sure you know about. We have some exciting things happening at the Ascent. And one, it starts with what's going to be going on today. Actually was going to be the start of Angel Tree for us, and I know how much you all love being a part of that as a way that we can connect with kids in our community. You guys always do such a great job of taking the angels, shopping for them. So one, if you're unaware, Angel Tree is a ministry that's in conjunction with the Prison Fellowship, and it connects us with kids that are in our community that have parents who are incarcerated, and we shop for them, buy them some new gifts. We get an angel that has some things that they like, things that they need, and so we were going to kick that off this Sunday. And so what we're going to do is we would love for you to come drop by the office sometime this week and pick up an angel so that we can get those back in before the deadline. So we only have a couple of weeks to do that, and so we wanted to make sure to get started. So if you could drop by the office if you'd like to pick one up. You'll also be able to do that next week, but that'll really only give you 1 week to do the shopping you need, and you'll have to get it presents back in quickly. But it's a wonderful ministry, and would love for you to help us really make a difference and change some lives of the kids in our community. So thanks for being a part of that. And I also want to tell you about the holidays parade that Galesburg puts on. It's a lighted parade that is gonna be next week, December 7th, and it's always an amazing time. We have a float and we have singers on the float, but that is coming so quickly. What I would need you to know about is one, if you would like to walk with us in the parade, I will send out some information. We'll have that next week as well about when to meet us. Usually we meet up right around 5 o'clock at the start of the parade, but we will get those specific details hopefully this week and be able to get that out to you. But if you'd like to walk with us in the parade, we would love to have you join us. Otherwise, if you would like to sit together on the parade route, we always love waving and seeing people from our church as part of that. And something exciting that we're doing this year is after the parade at the church, we will have some ciders and some sweet treats available. So if you stop by and come through the fellowship hall, we would all love to see you. Just grab some cookie and a little bit of cider. We don't want to keep anybody too late, but we wanted to do something fun to kind of cap off that night. And so it's going to be an awesome time. Also, December 12th, I believe we have coming up. It's a Grow Kids movie night. Again, we'll be passing out some more information and things about that. It is coming up. I just wanted to make sure that you hear about it at least once before next week. You'll still be able to hear that next Sunday too. But check our social media. We'll be posting about all of these things, and we would love to see you as a part of some of those things. So come and join us for that. Thank you so much. And we'll be posting things into the chat. If you would like to give today, we'll post the link there where you can do that here right during service real quick. It's a short form that'll get you connected that way. But we are so grateful to be the Ascent, to impact our community the way that we do, and we know that that's all through not only your generosity, but your commitment to our values, our mission of leading people into a growing relationship with Christ. So thank you so much for being a part of the Ascent and joining us today. We've got an awesome service, so let's get into worship.
I've searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise and treasures of faith were never enough. And you came along and put me together, and every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley, and there's not a place where mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Yeah. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens, yeah. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Yeah. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. Yeah. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens, yeah. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. For your mercy never fails me. For all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in the darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. My life laid down, surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Yeah. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, surrender now. I give you everything. Yeah. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, yeah. And all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God. Yeah, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
I will sing of the goodness of God.
Yeah, I will sing
before you now. I stand beside you. I'm all around you. Though you feel I'm far away, I am closer than your breath. I am with you more than you know. I am the Lord, your peace. No evil will conquer you. Steady now your heart and mind. Come into my rest. And don't let your faith arise. Lift up your weary head. I am with you wherever you go. Come to me, I'm all you need. Come to me, I'm everything. Come to me, I'm all you need. Come to me, I'm your everything. I am your anchor in the wind and the waves. I am your steadfast, so don't be afraid. Though your heart and flesh may fail you, I'm your faithful strength. I am with you wherever you go. Come to me, I'm all you need. Come to me, I'm everything. Come to me, I'm all you need. Come to me, I'm your everything. Come to me, I'm all you need. Come to me, I'm everything. Come to me, I'm all you need. Come to me, I'm your everything.
The stone was cold under his knees. It was cold yesterday, and it would be cold tomorrow, too. Simeon pressed his forehead to the floor of this small room as he whispered the same prayer that he'd whispered for how many years now? 20, 30? He'd lost count somewhere in the middle, and when his beard had gone from black to gray, when his friends stopped asking if he'd heard anything new from the Lord, even when his own family began to start using that tone that was reserved for the elderly when they start to speak of things that may not be real. Lord God of Israel, he breathed, let today be the day The floor offered no answer, and it never did. But the promise was still there. Settled deep in his chest like an ember that refused to go out. You will not see death before you have seen the Lord's Messiah. The Spirit had spoken it to him, not whispered, not suggested, spoken it, with the kind of clarity that just ruins you for ordinary life. And so he rose slowly, his knees reminding him of his age. And he wrapped his prayer shawl around his shoulders. And through the narrow window, as he looked out, he could see Jerusalem was just waking up. Merchants were starting to set up in the market. Priests were making their way toward the temple for the morning sacrifice. The same rhythms that had pulsed through this city for years, for generations. The same rituals, the same waiting. But Simeon had learned something all those years. He wasn't just waiting in a passive way. Waiting was really its own kind of work. Every morning he chose to believe the promise over the evidence. You see, the evidence said that he was getting older. It said that Rome still occupied the land. It said that the prophets had been silent for 400 years. And it said, maybe, just maybe God was done speaking. But he knew that the promise was otherwise, so he pulled on his outer robe and he stepped out into the street. His feet knew the path to the temple by memory by now. Right at the baker's shop, left at the well, through the crowded lower city where the smell of yesterday's fish still hung in the air. Up the steps, 15 of them. His legs counted everyone. Into the outer courts. This was the life of wonder. Not the wonder of a single moment, but the wonder of 10,000 mornings, choosing to stay aware, choosing to believe in God's soon, and that it might not match our or his calendar, that he was still certain, and choosing to position himself where that promise might unfold. He'd seen a lot of babies in his day, babies brought into the temple, countless dedication ceremonies, parents bringing their firstborn sons, offering their pigeons and lambs, fulfilling the law. He'd watched them all with that question tucked in the back of his mind. Could it be this one? But it never was, until today. Simeon didn't know that it was different when he woke up. The stone was just as cold that morning. His knees were just as stiff. And the promise was just as old. But as he entered the temple courts, as he always did, because wonder shows up even when nothing is happening, and I bet he felt it, the Spirit. Not the gentle presence that he'd learned to live with, but something more urgent, something stirred in him, something moving, he could tell, like a hand on his shoulder, turning him around like a voice without saying words. Now, finally, today. And then he saw them, that young couple. They were poor by the look of their offering, just 2 small birds instead of a lamb. The man protective, and the woman cradling something wrapped in a simple cloth. A baby. Just another baby in a city full of babies. Except today Simeon's feet were already moving. His heart was already starting to pound in his chest. The ember that was inside him suddenly began to be fanned into flame. His hands, weathered and trembling from decades, reaching out to the young mother's eyes, widened slightly and uncertain, but something in Simeon's face was familiar. Something told her that this wasn't a threat. It was his recognition. She placed the baby in his arms, and Simeon, who had been practicing wonder for 30 years, who had stayed awake and aware through the silence, who had positioned himself in this exact spot for this exact moment, finally saw. The weight of his arms, it was maybe 8 pounds, this baby, barely 6 weeks old. Eyes probably not fully opened, able to focus on his face, tiny fingers curled around his hand. This was the creator of the universe, This was the consolation of Israel, it says, the light of the Gentiles, the glory of God's people, all of it, wrapped in flesh that could bruise, bones that could break, and in skin that could bleed. The wonder of the waiting met the wonder of fulfillment, and Simeon couldn't tell which was greater. Was it that God had kept his promise? Or was it that the promise looked like this? Not a warrior on a war horse, not a king with a crown, but a baby who needed to be held. And in that moment, Simeon understood. It was something that the angels we read in Isaiah's vision had been singing all along, that God's greatest power isn't in his distant realm, it's in his nearness. The wonder isn't just that he's holy, 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 it's that he's here. Lord, Simeon says, voice cracking, now you can let your servant depart in peace. For him the waiting was over. The wonder had just begun. And you know what strikes me a little bit about Simeon's story? It's not that he finally saw the Messiah. It's that he was ready to see him. He was prepared. If you think about it, Mary and Joseph brought Jesus to the temple on day 40. Like thousands of other parents would have brought their babies that year. It was the same temple, the same ceremony, the same requirement under the law. But only one person in that crowded courtyard recognized who this child was. It wasn't the priest performing the ritual or the religious professionals who'd spent their lives studying the Torah. Not the crowds that were passing by or trying to offer sacrifices. It was just Simeon. Why? Because Simeon had been practiced something that I think the rest of the world had forgotten. Wonder. So I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you stopped and truly meditated on how great and powerful God is? Not just a quick, God is good in passing, not a hurried prayer before a meal, not background music theology while you're doing something else. I mean, when was the last time you really stopped and really looked, really let the weight of who God is settle on you? Because here's what I think happens to most of us, especially during Christmas, is that we get so busy celebrating the story that we forget to actually see it. We've heard it so many times, the angels, the shepherd, the manger, that we can recite it without even experiencing it. Our familiarity has replaced our wonder. Scripture doesn't let us off that easy, though. Listen to how in the Bible it frames the magnitude of who it is that we're really talking about. Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And that's not poetic language. That's our cosmic reality. That's the God we serve. He spoke and galaxies came into existence. He set the stars into place. He determined the laws of physics. He designed our DNA. He created gravity and the electromagnetic spectrum. He did so much. And the prophet Isaiah got a glimpse of this too. And when he says, I saw the Lord sitting high upon the throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him stood the seraphim. One called and the another said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Angels, these are beings of pure power, of holiness. They can't even directly look at him. They cover their faces and cry out in continuous worship. And the psalmist, when we look in Psalms, it says, when I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you've set in place. What is man that you're even mindful of him? And the Son of Man that you care for him? Do you see how that progresses? God creates everything. God reigns in unapproachable holiness. God is so vast that it makes us ask, why would he even notice us? And then, the same God, the one who commands angels, who creates galaxies, who sits enthroned above all creation, chooses to come near. He doesn't send a representative. He doesn't shout instructions from heaven. He doesn't demand that we find a way to climb up to him. He comes down to us as one of us. The creator becomes creation. The infinite compresses into the finite. The word becomes flesh, and God becomes graspable. That's what Simeon held in his arms that day. Not just a baby, not just the Messiah, but the God of Genesis wrapped in skin. The Holy One of Isaiah 6 with lungs that needed to breathe. And the Lord of Psalm 8, small enough to be cradled. Simeon, who's just an old man who'd been waiting his entire adult life, recognized him because Simeon had cultivated something that many of us have lost. And it was wonder. Wonder. I want to be clear about wonder, what it truly is, because I think often we confuse it with something else. You see, wonder is not just an emotion. It's not just the warm, fuzzy feeling that you get watching the Hallmark Channel or a Christmas movie. It's not nostalgia for your childhood or an excitement about presents under the tree. No, wonder is something deeper. It's something more intentional, something that shaped every single day in Simeon's life until the moment that he finally held Jesus. And here's what I want to show you today as you listen, is that wonder, as great as it is, it's built up of 3 parts, 3 dimensions. There's 3 expressions that we see captured and that are on display here in Simeon's story. We need to recover this wonder if we're going to truly experience Christmas this year as we go through this Advent season. We need to know. The first is that wonder is anticipation. What's a sustained posture of living aware of God's promises, of allowing what we haven't seen yet to shape how we live today. If you think about Simeon's story and that life and the moment in that temple, Luke tells us that he was waiting for the consolation of Israel. That phrase is one that's not just casual language. This is a deep theological weight. He had marinated on the words of Isaiah the prophet. He was familiar with the promises and what was foretold. He knew in Isaiah 40 it says, "Comfort, comfort my people, says your God." He knew that in Isaiah 52 it says that the Lord has comforted his people, that he has redeemed Jerusalem. They weren't just vague hopes, they were specific, prophetic guarantees that God would restore his people, that the Messiah would come, that salvation would reach to the ends of the earth. And the Holy Spirit had given Simeon a personal promise of that. He said to him, "You will not see death before you see the Lord's Messiah." What a promise. So what did that look like when we look at his life? It looked like, as I said, 10,000 mornings. It looked like choosing to believe the promise over the evidence as he was getting older, as Rome still occupied the land, as God had been silent for 400 years. The evidence said that what his friends, as they had stopped asking him and asked him if he'd heard anything new, the evidence mounted. But it was believing in the hope and the wonder. Simeon chose to anticipate. Anyway, he positioned himself. He showed up at the temple day after day, year after year, watching parents bring their babies for dedication ceremonies, asking every time, "Couldn't it be this one?" And it never was, until it was. And here's where this really hits us. If we think about it, most of us live the exact opposite of what Simeon's strategy was, his anticipatory wonder. You see, we count down to Christmas, and we use chocolate calendars or candies or toys or things in little boxes. We're great at anticipating December 25th. But what are we doing to anticipate December 26th? Or January 15th, or next October? You see, Simeon didn't have a 40-day countdown. He had a lifetime count up. He got to day 1,825, today 7,300, today 10,950. Living in anticipation of God's promise. So what would change in your daily life if you woke up tomorrow genuinely anticipating Christ's return? And I don't mean that in like an anxious, just read the Left Behind book sort of way. But if you really were positioned and expectant, living like the promise is certain, even if the timing is unknown. Here's the thing. When we hear those words, the consolation of Israel, Simeon was waiting for that. That's the same kingdom that we're living in and waiting for right now. Already here, but also not yet. You see, Jesus came, yes, but he's also coming again. So I want to ask you, do your calendar, your bank account, your daily conversations, do they show that you're living in anticipation of Christ's reign? Or have you, like I think many of us, if we're honest, settled into living in this world like the rhythms are all that matter? I get it. You know, we all have bills to pay. We've got kids to raise, jobs to do. And Christmas in itself even has become one more thing on the to-do list. It's not the celebration of God breaking into human history, but Simeon had a life too. He wasn't floating in some spiritual bubble. He got older. His knees hurt. The stone was cold every morning. But yet he chose to wonder. He chose anticipation. He chose to let God's future shape his present reality. Because Simeon was practicing that anticipatory wonder, and he practiced it for decades. And when the moment finally came, he was ready for the second part of wonder, which is realization. Realization is what happens when the anticipation meets the fulfillment, when we finally encounter what we've been waiting for, and we discover the reality, and it exceeds even our spirit-formed expectations. You see, if you picture that moment again, as Simeon entered the temple, and he walks through the courts like he had 1,000 times before. But this time, something was different. The Spirit, who had been a gentle, constant presence, suddenly was urgent, insistent. It was moving him forward. And then he sees them, a young couple. Just a woman cradling her baby. And he's moving towards them. Mary places the baby in his arms. And Simeon, who had imagined this moment for 30 years, he realizes something staggering. The promise he believed in was even more wonderful than he'd anticipated. It wasn't a warrior on a war horse. It wasn't a king with a crown, but it was the creator of the universe, vulnerable enough to need holding. And this is what pours out of him in that moment. He says, Lord, now you are letting your servant depart in peace, according to your word, for my eyes have seen your salvation that you've prepared in the presence of all people, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and for glory to your people Israel. My eyes have seen, he said, not hoped for, not believed in, not heard about, seen. This was a personal encounter with a cosmic reality. Your salvation that you have prepared. God didn't improvise in the moment. This was the plan. He had prepared for this. He had promised it even. In the presence of all people, Simeon says, as he held this tiny baby, he sees a global mission at work. He sees the Isaiah 49:6 verse coming true, salvation reaching the ends of the earth, all bundled in this tiny package. And here's what he understood. In that moment, the angels in Isaiah's vision had been singing all along. God's power isn't in a distant realm. His power is in his nearness. The wonder isn't just that he's holy. The wonder is that he chose to be here, that we could reach out and touch him, that we could know him, and that he is with us. I want you to imagine what it's like waiting for a baby. Many of you know what that's like. 9 months of anticipation. You prepared the nursery, read the books, felt the kicks. You know that a child is coming. But when you're in that delivery room and the nurse places that actual baby in your arms, warm, breathing, you see your eyes, you see your spouse's nose. The anticipation was real, but the realization is different. It's weightier, it's more wonderful. That's the difference between knowing about the incarnation and sitting with the staggering reality that it happened. We've heard the Christmas story, many of us since childhood. We can recite Luke 2. We sing the carols. We know the songs. We have the nativity scenes. But when was the last time you let yourself feel the shock of it? The God who created galaxies chose a feeding trough? The one that Isaiah saw on the throne, surrounded by seraphs crying, "Holy," became small enough for a teenage girl to nurse. We can move past knowing this Christmas about it or experiencing the realization of it. Not God could save us, not God promised to save us, but God did save us, and it looked like a tiny baby born in Bethlehem. Maybe that means reading the nativity accounts in a translation you haven't before and letting the unfamiliar wording maybe jolt you awake. Maybe it means sitting with one verse for a whole week, not to study it, but to live with it, to let it reorient you. Maybe it means asking the Spirit to show you something that you've never seen before in a passage that you've read 100 times. Here's what's at risk if we lose the realization. Christmas becomes a performance. We go through the motions, the services, the songs, the traditions. We miss the wonder of what we're celebrating. Simeon had been keeping company with a divine secret for decades. But in that moment, when it arrived, he got to say out loud, "My eyes have seen your salvation." When you gather with family this Christmas, when you sing, "Oh, come all ye faithful," when you light the Advent candles, when you're doing all of this, you're not rehearsing something that might be true. You're celebrating a realized history. The Word became flesh. It happened. Simeon held him. The shepherds worshiped him. The Magi found him. But here's the thing. That realized wonder, it doesn't just happen passively. Not only do we have to realize it, but we have to participate in it. Because wonder is participation. It's an active spiritual discipline. We cultivate it. It's not a passive emotion that happens to us. If you look at how Luke describes Simeon's life, you can see that he doesn't just say that Simeon was spiritual or hopeful, that he gives us kind of 3 specific things. And it says, "Behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon, and this man was righteous and devout. He was waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him." He was righteous and devout. His life aligned with his theology. He was waiting, which is an active positioning, not just a passive wishing. And as the Holy Spirit was upon him. This was before the disciples, before the Pentecost, before the Spirit had come through and rested upon all believers. He had the Spirit with him. And in verse 26, it says that it was revealed to him that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord's Christ. It was a past revelation that sustained his present hope. The next verse says that he came in the Spirit into the temple. He was carrying the Spirit of God with him in that moment, and he was sensitive to the divine leading of God. This wasn't sporadic or spontaneous spirituality. It was a disciplined wonder. Simeon had built a life that positioned him to recognize God's move when it came. Daily prayer, regular temple attendance, spirit sensitivity. There was a theological depth in these promises from Isaiah, and Simeon had taken hold of what that looked like in his life. You see, most of us treat wonder like it's a gym membership. We sign up in January full of good intentions. And we might even feel excited about it, but feeling motivated isn't the same as actually training. Sometimes the rubber just doesn't meet the road. And when we look at Simeon, he didn't just feel spiritual warm fuzziness about the Messiah. He had a daily practice. He got down on that cold stone floor every morning and said his prayers. He knew that the path that he walked from his house to the temple was well worn, but he still showed up. He had seen countless babies and had witnessed countless times through that procedure, but he stayed alert. He stayed vigilant. This is the life of wonder, not the wonder of a single moment, but a wonder of 10,000 mornings, choosing to stay aware of what God is doing. But what does that look like for us? Well, maybe we can practice wonder this Advent, kind of the way that we train if we're an athlete. And we don't do it to earn God's favor. That's already yours in Christ. We don't do it to manufacture emotion. You see, the Spirit will give us what we need, but we do it to condition our soul so that we can be aware and see what's always been true. If we just spent 5 minutes every morning, that's it, not an hour. It doesn't take a retreat, 5 minutes. If we read through Genesis 1 or maybe Isaiah 6 or Psalm 8, and not to check a box, not to feel productive, but to let the weight of God's greatness settle on us. I know that December is chaos. I know that you've got shopping and baking and traveling and family dynamics. You've got task lists and work deadlines. But I also know that many of us check our phones up to 96 times a day. We are incredibly disciplined at staying connected to our devices. So what if you were disciplining or disciplined about positioning yourself for wonder, as you are about checking Instagram? What if every time you reach for your phone this Advent, you pause and you ask, what's one thing about God's character or Christ's coming that I can marvel at right now? You see, Luke tells us twice in his story that Mary treasured up all the things, pondering them in her heart. She didn't just scroll past the angel's announcement or move past the shepherd's story. She held it. She meditated on it. She lived it inside her. She could grasp the wonder. And we can treat Christmas like it's just background music, pleasant noise, while we do other things. But what would happen if instead we participated in the wonder? If we were like the shepherds who said, let us go to Bethlehem and see this thing. They didn't just stay in the field discussing how nice it would be. They went immediately. And wonder should move us. Or like the Magi, they traveled thousands of miles and brought treasures. Their wonder cost them time, money, comfort. But it wasn't convenient, but it was worth it. What should participatory wonder look like for you this December? As we go through Advent, maybe it'll be turning off the Christmas movie marathon and sitting in silence with a candle, meditating on John 1:14, where it says the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Maybe it's taking a winter walk, going outside, finding things to wonder at, looking at the stars like a psalmist. Maybe it's writing out something like Simeon wrote, creating a song in your own words, like, Lord, my eyes have seen your salvation because. We just spent a lot of time talking about writing our story. Remembering the words when it said, when I look at your heavens, what is man that you're mindful of him? Wonder doesn't just happen. We have to cultivate it. We have to practice it. We have to position ourselves for it. And when we do, that's when we can combine the anticipation, the realization, and the participation, and something changes. That'll help us stop going through the motions of Christmas and truly start experiencing the reality of what Emmanuel is, God with us. And that starts with wonder.